The 2026 State of Shonen Jump is complex. And I've been working on a script for like 2 months now, and I've had to revise it again and again and again because more and more information comes out. And so I know Jump Festa was one thing, but there were a lot of announcements before and after Jump Festa that really showed that the state of Jump, especially the anime side of things, it's in a weird state right now, both good and bad. So, as part of my resolution to do at least one video per week for the entire year of 2026, I decided to make this video. And essentially, this is going to be, as you can already tell, a little bit rambly. I've got a basic outline of my thoughts. It's a little bit freeform, and before I get to making a fully edited, fully scripted video on what I believe to be the full picture of the state of Shonen Jump in 2026, this is the video where I kind of get into the nitty-gritty of some of my thought process leading up into that video. So with that being said, if you're new around here, my name is Axel Ablaze. I like to cover Shonen Jump, manga, anime, and the business in general. And this is the 2026 State of Shonen Jump, the prelude. So, obviously, the magazine itself, it's a big part of the current state of Shonen Jump. It's obviously the most important part. But I think the anime side of things is in such a peculiar spot right now, and it's a big aspect of the current state of Shonen Jump, and I would say arguably it's in one of the more important places it's been in the last few years. So what do I mean by that? There's a lot going on. We've got movies for series that ended at the start of the 2020s pushing out their finales for anime only people. We've got delayed continuations for series that ended or will end this year, or potentially early 2027. We've got remakes, we've got reboots, we've got first-time adaptations of various Shonen Jump and Shonen Jump sphere series spanning decades, and I do mean decades. I honestly even forgot some of the stuff that was being covered, but there's a lot going on, and we even have anime adaptations for series that have been axed, and not just like, one, obviously, like in the example of Kill Blue, a series that went on for multiple years, and it got an announcement at the end of its serialization. But no, we got an anime announcement for a series that lasted just about a year. Obviously, if you follow the channel and you know what I've read and what I enjoyed, or if you've seen me on Twitter, you know what series I'm talking about in that regard. But it's crazy that we have all these different announcements for all of these properties, and yet we've still have nothing for certain series that have ran for a few years in the magazine. Like the torch is not successfully being handed off here. And by all means, that's not to say that there's not stuff that's in production. That's not to say that at all. Honestly speaking, sure, we could have shadow drops for certain things if they've had production that's been going on for a while. But realistically speaking, there's stuff in the magazine that's ongoing right now that's probably not going to get an anime adaptation until 2027. And there's a lot going on with that, which kind of like leads into a follow-up point I have, where it's worth mentioning that this is the first anime season in decades, and I do mean decades, because of One Piece, where we don't have an anime airing for a series that is currently running in Weekly Shonen Jump. And before you ask, no, I don't count JJK Modulo with, you know, Jujutsu Kaisen's not Shibuya incident, the Culling Games, oh my gosh, the Culling Games arc. I don't count that. Like, it's a sequel, it's a spin-off, it is not the series itself. And it feels so weird. Like, and to clarify too, I'm not counting Shonen Jump, or not Shonen Jump. I'm not counting things like Jump Plus. I'm not counting things like Jump Square, Weekly Young Jump, anything like that. I'm talking Weekly Shonen Jump does not have an anime going right now for a series that is currently running in the magazine. That is just how big of a hole and how big of a thing One Piece was for as long as it was running. Now that we are in the era of One Piece being seasonal, and that's a crazy thing to say for a series that has been running weekly for decades. I have YouTube friends, Twitter friends, and whatnot that are younger than the amount of time that One Piece has been airing as an anime. It's insane. I think that's a big deal and a big problem that Shonen Jump essentially has a void, and it's not a void in the traditional sense. There's a lot of amazing anime going on for this winter season. And honestly speaking, I'll probably cover that in a follow-up video as a weekly kind of thing. There's a lot of really good stuff this season that is not from Shonen Jump, and that is a good thing. But it's a problem that Shonen Jump isn't a bigger part of that conversation. Yes, we have Jujutsu Kaisen. Cool, it's gonna get more sales manga-wise, but again, like, it's the meme of like holding the kid up in the air at the pool while the other kid is drowning, and then you got the skeleton down at the bottom of the pool. It's a lot. I plan on going over more specifics once I do get to the fully edited video for the State of Jump. But like I said, we're in a really weird place right now, and it's good and bad. But for the current state of what's in the magazine, I am erring on the side of bad. But again, I will get more into that once we get into the full video. As for the magazine itself, so the biggest reason why I've held off on finalizing a video script is because of one manga, and that's The Elusive Samurai. So we knew it was ending because Matsui said that we had already reached the climax and that there was a little bit that was left after that. And obviously history is finite. For anyone that went on Wikipedia or did a Google search or whatnot, you know how the story ends. And the biggest question for me was, how much is there left to cover? Like, how much is going to be stretched out, if anything? Are we going to have one more big battle or whatnot? And we didn't. And after reading chapter 233, prior to that point, I had been waffling on whether or not, you know, is this going to end by the first batch of the new year? Is it going to get stretched out until spring for the second batch? I'm in the camp that it's going to end for this first batch. Now, I could be wrong. And that is a hallmark of me saying, like, oh, it could be this one, it could be that next one, like waffling back and forth between two options. But like, just again, after reading 233, I don't see how it can stretch out for like another 10 chapters. So again, rather than you just like a few months back putting out a guess, and then all of the December news that came out, like, you know, affecting the video script and whatnot, and what was right and wrong, what I was thinking, that was one of the biggest things that I held off on, and why I'm still holding off on finalizing and putting out a current State of Shonen Jump, because I'm questioning that still, and I want to see what comes next. And I want to say, even if it does, even with it ending, if it does end within the next couple chapters, even if it does stretch until spring or somewhere in between, and we get like a weird like super smartphone random drop after a batch kind of thing, it's had a good run. I am super content with how this manga has played out, and it has been great. I congratulate Matsui on going 3 for 3 in Shonen Jump with long-running series. It's honestly insane. The man needs more praise for what he has done when you consider how many other veterans have, you know, tried to come back with something in Shonen Jump and have failed. Like, time and time again. The man deserves a lot of praise for doing good with what he's got. When it comes to the other series that are ending, or in this case, axes, the other two are way more obvious. So starting off, Order of the Flame is absolutely ending. It is absolutely ending after failing to make any kind of dent whatsoever in sales. It flopped with Volume 1, it flopped with Volume 2. And again, Shueisha even gave Oder like another batch worth of time to try and do something. And I will give it that, like, the series did get better story-wise, character-wise. I do think that it got better. It just was too little too late. And that being said, I do think that the reason why Shueisha even gave Kawaguchi a pass is because of the reception in the Western audience. Odor of the Flame was the biggest, or it was the most read new series of 2025 after Modulo, obviously. Which that has to do with, you know, how 2025 as a whole was for new series, and I will get into that. I have thoughts. And you will also hear my thoughts if you see the upcoming video with Manga Crash and Trenton Arts, where we do our yearly recap and thoughts on the new series of Shonen Jump. It was a year. It was a year of all time. And I'm going to leave it at that. You'll get more of my thoughts in the future. And so just, you probably already guessed based on my tone and how I'm tiptoeing around it. But, yeah, Odor of the Flame, it's, the flame is dying out. There's no doubt after the most recent chapter of how we were just speedrunning the end. So if nothing else, Odor is going to be the first one to go based on how fast it is heading towards an ending. The other series that is absolutely ending is Harukaze Mound, because it's the other one that is consistently at the end of the TOC after Shueisha's attempt to really advertise for it by giving it color pages and whatnot, and sacrificing 3 other series, including Kaidegami, which was, you know, it wasn't necessarily the best, but it had a lot of potential, you know, Potential Man meme. Harukaze Mound has just been a flop in terms of its reception, and like sales for it have not been good. But the only thing that is in my mind right now is that Shonen Jump editorial could do the same thing that they did with Odor of the Flame for Harukaze Mound. And the reason why I say that is we haven't seen the two brothers play in an actual game against each other. Is Shonen Jump going to end things without showing us that match? Now, a few things could happen in that regard. Like I said, we could go the Odor route, where it gets another batch worth of chapters, and, you know, we We continue to have Harukaze Mound in the magazine just so they can get a match out of it. The other thing that is possible, if they wanted to show us that match, is that it is possible that there could be volume only chapters for that final match, which is something that has been happening more frequent as of late with certain Shonen Jump series. Like the most recent one that I remember was Starved Beethoven. That was one that had that. One of my least favorite Shonen Jump series, Build King, had that happen as well. And I mentioned it earlier, but Super Smartphone, that one also had chapters that were volume only. So that is another possibility. The other thing is, by all means, we could end the series without them getting to that match. I'm not thinking that's going to be the case, only because like they've done, Shonen Jump editorial has done Kento Matsura so dirty in a sense, because this is the third time around that they have published him. That he had other one-shots and whatnot that they could have gone with, and they decided to go with baseball. When sports has been just awful reception-wise in Shonen Jump, it's succeeding everywhere else, but not in Shonen Jump. So it could be one of those like editorial guilt things of like, oh, we're gonna give you a little bit more time for Harukaze Mound. I don't think so, but it's a possibility. So one way or another, we're getting either a batch of 2 or 3. I don't think we're getting 4. I don't think there's anything that they're going to cut that soon. I have one series that I hope it could be, absolutely, because I hate it. But it's gonna be 2 or 3. That is just the gut feeling that I have, and then the following round will probably have 3 again, but we'll have to wait and see. Odor is going for sure. It's just a matter of whether or not Harukaze Mound or Elusive Samurai go with it, or both. If one doesn't end with this batch, it's ending with the other one. Just plain and simple. As for what's to come with new series, that's a good question. There's again so many things that did and did not happen in 2025. The GFC, the Golden Future Cup, seems to be dead, since there was no Golden Future Cup last year, and there is still a list of winners waiting to get their guaranteed serialization. We have a backlog, and we keep publishing other people that competed, but not the winners. Okay. We also had the Jump Future project toward the beginning of the year. That was a thing, and you wouldn't necessarily think that was a thing, because the one person that they decided to publish so far was Ganran Egg, instead of Tanazaki's one-shot from said project. And Modulo has opened up this potential door for short-form content from veterans, but, you know, who knows if anyone will bite with that. Anything could happen. My expectations are low, given the track record of current things. I think 2027 maybe has a better shot with things, but we'll get into that a little bit more again once we get to the fully edited video with my full thoughts on the state of, you know, Shonen Jump in 2026. That being said, when we do get to that video, I'm going to discuss the other ongoing series in a bit more detail once I finish scripting things in a few weeks. I figure it's just best at this point to wait it out for seeing where the axes fall, where they do. I'll cover the new series, however many ones we get, and make my predictions from there. We could get new series as early as issue 10. since Someone Hurts has the cover for issue 9, I'm gonna go ahead and go on a limb here and guess that it's gonna be issue 11 that we'll start seeing the new stuff, but I could be right, I could be wrong. Again, like I said, I'm a little wish-washy on these things because the new batch, the latest batch has been around already for at least 10 chapters, so like it's time to get the ball rolling on things. But that being said, that is the end of my rambling. I would love to hear from you all in the comments on what you all think. What do you think of the ramblings that I've had so far? What are you looking forward to hearing about in the eventual video that once it's finalized and whatnot? What are your current thoughts on the state of Shonen Jump before I give you my own? Leave your comments, and depending on what you give me, I might even respond to it in the State of Shonen Jump video that I make in the next few weeks here. For now, I thank you all for watching. There's more Axel content on the way. I know there has been a drought for those of you that were sticking with me through the 365 challenge. Thank you for it. And again, with that, especially stay tuned because I will be covering every manga, every one-shot, every anime that I finished in 2025, and believe me, there was a lot. That being said, I've been Axel Blaze. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye for now.